It really matters how you think about the money. Like I've had people come to me like, Ashley, like I'm going to spend $500. And it's like, yes, like you even saying it like that is a problem.
She went from fighting with her husband over a $200 charge for guacamole to commanding a $200 million ad spend.
How much did you spend on the building, or how much did you spend on the software? How much did you spend on the team? And what I found is so often like the advertising budget is like the last thing. It's like, hey, build it and they'll come. And it's just, you have to build it and tell them about it so that they can find you. And so it's really just like asking yourself how you're thinking about money.
Ashley got so much things to help the world with. Her energy inspires confidence. Her presence sparks belief, and she leaves people feeling empowered to become more of who they are meant to be.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to X Factor Marketing. I'm so excited about today's guest. She is somebody that kept showing up on my Instagram feed, and I was loving her content. And then I did what we do. I clicked on it. And I kept following and kept following. And then I signed up for her course. And I got to tell you, I learned so much. And I reached out to her, and I am so happy that we have since started talking, and she agreed to come on the podcast today. So Ashley, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and agreeing to share with everyone who's listening your brilliance and what you do.
Wendy, you are so kind. We're going to have so much fun today, and everybody on the podcast is in for a really good episode. I'm excited.
They are in for a treat, but let me tell them who you are and what you do. So folks, this is Ashley Brock, and she is a paid ad expert. And you went from helping big companies out there that we would all know their names of spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars being, to be found online, to helping small business owners and entrepreneurs like us in real estate, for example, and any small business entrepreneur. But I, have a soft spot for us in real estate, build our businesses through online paid ads.
Yeah. I like my first job out of college, like day one was advertising. So this is all I've done all day, every day for over a decade. And I love it so much. And for me and for everyone listening, one of the things I've found with advertising is that it should not be the same fit for every person. So whether you have a real estate business, whether you have a course or something online that you're doing, the strategy may look different. Like maybe it's more Google, maybe it's more YouTube, maybe it's more Pinterest, maybe it's more LinkedIn, maybe it's more YouTube or Facebook and Instagram, but the strategy should be custom. So I'm just so excited to chat because I feel like everyone can win with ads. It's just the approach might be a little different based on the industry.
And why do you think that people are hesitant to spend money on ads? Because really, that's when I talk to people, they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't think I should. I don't think I could. I don't think I will.
Yeah. I think the hesitancy comes from a lack of certainty. Like there's a risk that's associated when something's not guaranteed. And honestly, we are conditioned for guarantees. Like when you bought that shirt, you gave money and you were guaranteed to get it. When I bought this house, I paid money and I was guaranteed to get it. You're not guaranteed to win with ads. Granted, the like analogy that people give is some of us would rather, like our brains would rather stay in our comfort zone. And so there's so much comfort. And that's why Tony Robbins says that something working just enough is dangerous. It's like, well, it's working just enough. I can pay my bills. I'm getting a couple leads. Like this is good. And that's so dangerous because it prevents you from being willing to risk and have extreme discomfort. And so I think it's just not knowing enough. But the more that you know, I feel like the more you can grow with ads because you understand, oh, this is actually, if you do it the right way, there is a way that it doesn't have to feel like a trash machine. It can actually be like, wow, this is the lifeblood of the business. But you can't, it's hard to, the last example I'll give, Wendy, is it's like with my son trying to explain floating. I can't get him to understand what floating feels like when he's never done it. You just have to do it. And it's like, it's hard for me to explain, like, this can work so well for you, but you have to kind of feel it for yourself. So it's just not guaranteed. That's probably why.
Yeah. So knowing that it's not guaranteed, it is you're using your floating analogy, it's like, how do you get started?
Yeah.
So what I loved when I met you, and I met you through your 5-day paid ad challenge,
Yeah.
which was 5 days. You said, show up here for 5 days. I'm going to take you through this. You gave us homework, like you walked us through it. And it was, you waded us into the water gently. So take us through like what that's like for getting started and how you sort of walk your students through if they are hesitant in getting started.
One of the first things that I think about is their thoughts about spending money, because it really matters how you think about the money. Like I've had people come to me like, Ashley, like I'm going to spend $500. And it's like, yes, like you even saying it like that is a problem. You know
yes, because that's like a big budget for some small businesses.
Right. And I'm like, I asked, but even with small businesses, I'm like, how much did you spend on the building? Or how much did you spend on the software? How much did you spend on the team? And what I found is so often like the advertising budget is like the last thing. It's like, hey, build it and they'll come. And it's just, you have to build it and tell them about it so that they can find you. And so it's really just like asking yourself how you're thinking about money. And do you anticipate that good will come from it? I think so often people are like, no, I did an ad and that didn't work well. Well, I've been on a date before and that didn't go well. But that doesn't prevent you from doing from the next person that you find that you end up marrying and having 2 kids with. Like it's just, there's always going to be a bad experience and a good one. That there's like, what's that law? It's like for everything there will be an equal and opposite. So yes, some things won't go well, but that's not the reason not to continue. So I want people to think about like having a number that they can detach themselves from, and also just anticipating that good things can come from it.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you help people decide where to spend their money? So if they've detached from, okay, I have a budget.
Totally.
I'm going to wade into this online advertising world. Yeah. Then what's the next step look like?
I always recommend for any business, just about a search and a social. So search is going to be Google. And the reason I say Google is because that person has the intent. Like they're on there and they are searching. They're looking for what you have to offer. They just don't know that you exist. So for my real estate agent specifically, I'll say there are so many people searching for best real estate agent near me. It's so simple. But I'm like, that person, it's like if you had to spend $500, would you rather spend on someone just scrolling Instagram and Facebook? Or would you rather like show up for someone who's searching, I wish I had a real estate agent right here in this town? Like that's where I think people see and hear of social media and we're immersed in it. So we're like, oh, that's where we should spend our money. And for a real estate agent, I would not recommend their first place being Facebook and Instagram. If I was under the gun, someone was like, hey, you have 30 days to get 3 listings. I'm not going to Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to go to Google. And I'm going to say, let's spend our money on someone already looking for an agent versus hoping we can find someone who is. Now, have I had success with my clients on Instagram? Yes, of course. But I just find putting all your eggs in one basket is the worst thing someone could do. So I would rather start with Google and then allow people to find you and say, oh, I just found this incredible, agent with EXP. It looks like they're local. This is amazing. And then they open up their phone again and they're like, there's that agent. Look, they just had that listing. What a beautiful home. Like, or they have an ad and it's like, here's why we're different. Here's how we do our listings different than anybody else. That's great. They found you and then they saw you again. But I would focus on, I like to recommend a search and a social. Be where they have intent and then be where they are when they're kind of maybe distracted and doing something else, but allowing you to be top of mind there.
Okay. And do you recommend then when they're doing that Google ad, like what are they marketing, like sort of brand marketing themselves, or are they marketing like a listing that they had for sale?
Themselves. I think too many real estate, this is the experience that I've had is after working with so many real estate agents, so many of them are sending them to the same website and it's the same experience. It's like, shop our listings, put in your zip code and see things we've sold. And I'm like, the reason people work with a real estate agent is because of who they are.
Right.
I'm like, I'm over here trying to see, do we connect? Do we vibe? Do I trust you? And you're trying to be like, plug in this zip code. I don't want to do that. I want to work with a person. Right. So when someone's searching realtor near me, what they're not looking for is real estate near me. So when people are searching and taking them to a find your place, I'm like, that is my opinion is not the best move, not that it can't work. I will never say this is 100% of the case. I think anybody who says that is wrong. Because there's always nuances and things should be customized. But what I have found, let's say with 90% of the time, and I have my own father-in-law as a case study as a realtor, and I did the same thing with him I did with my clients. Someone was searching, they landed on a page and it was like, hey, I'm Bruce. Here's what I do. Here's why we're different. Here's my family. Contact me. And he got 3 listings from his Google ads in his first 30 days. I'm like, you just had to give me some time and some money. Oh yeah. Someone was looking for him and they connected. And so
that's a pretty big case study, Ashley.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yes. I mean, someone was just looking, and what was cool is someone was in California looking for an agent in Canton, Georgia, and he serves Canton, Georgia, but they were buying a home for their mom, and they were just like, local real estate agent near Canton. They saw Bruce, had a great little story. They sent him a message. He responded within 24 hours. He met with mom the next day or whatever it was. And then they were like, it was perfect. It was so easy. And I'm like, findability does not have to be hard. They were looking for a person. They just didn't know who. So that's why I recommend search, because the likelihood to convert is so much higher on search because they're raising their hand.
Yeah. So that's the search part. Then tell me about social, because you said search and social. So what's the social part of that?
Exactly. So the social part is once someone found Bruce, like my father-in-law, for example, if someone is searching for an agent, what they're probably doing is searching for an agent, which means they probably clicked on Bruce's profile and then they clicked the back button. They saw some other options and they were like, okay. And honestly, they could have liked Bruce like third best. But when they open up their phone again, it's like, hey, it's Bruce again. If you still are looking for the right agent to help you list or sell your home, my name is Bruce. I've sold over $20 million in real estate. I'd love to be able to help you. And in fact, here's a few homes we recently listed, and it like has a little ad. I'm like, what a beautiful ad for him to stay top of mind, because I like to say, because I rhyme a lot, Wendy, probably know this, but I like to say you don't want to be just the one that's easiest to find. You want to be the one that's also most top of mind. So there's findability, and then I made up a word, and it's called remindability. It's like, yes, you were findable, but then did they see you again? Because that's another thing my agents say is they're like, Ashley, I ran these Google ads. They didn't buy. I'm like, yeah, because you went on one date, they saw you one time, and they forgot about you. The whole point is that you're top of mind consistently. So Google may be the first touch, but Meta may be the second touch.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. All right. So you mentioned that, like, you mentioned Bruce. So that's a great case study, but you've worked with lots of real estate agents and home builders. So you have a great reference for the real estate industry as a case study. So tell us a little bit about like some of the other sort of proof points and things that have worked really well for our industry.
Yeah. So there's this mother-daughter group. They're called the McDonald group, and they're out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And they began their Google ads and got absolutely nothing. And so the good news is that Macy and her mom were like, we will figure this out. And what happened was the reason they got nothing was because they were spending their Google ad budget on people searching for real estate. Real estate and real estate agents are two very different things. But the thing is she's like, no, I plugged in real estate agent. I'm like, right, but you didn't set it up the right way. And thus Google is matching.
I want to interrupt you because that is such an important distinction that I want to make sure that we're really clarifying that real estate and real estate agents, that's a completely different search.
Right.
And when we set it up and set ads up around that, that is a completely different opportunity that we have to create business for ourselves.
Right. Because just if someone's searching real estate near me, it's like, yeah, they're looking for property. Like who's to say they do or do not have an agent? But so that's why one of my first things when people say Google didn't work for me, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't set up right. Like, I'm serious. Like I haven't found, I'm trying to think of an example where someone set it up properly, and because here's the only reason it wouldn't work is if someone was like, no, Ashley, I showed up for the right people. It was absolutely it. Well, what would happen is I look at the landing page and I'm like, oh, this was one of those websites where it's just searching for property. I'm like, that alone can ruin your ads, because where you send people to really matters. And if they're looking for a person and all they see is property, then you've got a mishap. So it all has to match. Someone looking for an agent needs to land on a page. So the McDonald group, what they did is, their phone now rings off the hook, and they get about anywhere from a 5-to-1 to a 10-to-1 return for every dollar that they spend, and they're still with me to this day. And one of the things that they tested was actually there's a radius where some very high net worth and high like homes are. And they were like, I wonder if we could own this radius. Like if this one little area of people searching for an agent right here, she's like, these would be huge. And they did, and it worked. And so not only being able to say Dallas Fort Worth area, which is a large area, but being able to say, ooh, there's these few cities we want to own when someone's searching for a realtor, it was just money for them. So that just went really well. And they do Google, and they do, because within Google, there are search ads and there are local service ads. They're two different types of inventory, both of which can work so well for realtors. And so they do that. And then they also do Facebook and Instagram ads too. And just like, here's our listing. Like I had another example, Wendy, actually, she was in Cape San Blas, Florida. And all she did was run an Instagram ad where she was standing outside the house and her arms were just up and the house was behind her. And it's like 3 reasons when you work with our brokerage, it's different. And that's all it was. And she got a $700,000 listing in her first week. But all she did was just do a local radius of that local area, stand outside the house, say, this is why we're different. Someone saw it. And it just, your strategy doesn't have to be complicated for your revenue to be elevated. It really can work without it being this whole 10-page funnel. Like it can be so simple.
So I do know that you love to rhyme, and you're so used to doing it that I don't even know if you know when you are rhyming. But you just said your strategies don't have to be complicated for your revenue to be elevated.
That's right. That's right.
Did you know that you were rhyming there? That just flow off the tongue.
I will say flow is 95% of the time, but I have said that before, so it was in my brain. But did I think about how it rhymed? No, but I know that I've said that before for sure. Like
that was very good. That was very good. I like that. That was great.
It's true.
That was very
good. It
good.
doesn't have to be complicated.
And it was very true. Yeah. So how do you help people decide what their spend should be? Because I imagine that's a question you get a lot from your students.
All the time. I actually made a whole podcast episode on it because it is, but it's, one of 100, but it is one of the top questions. So I'm actually glad that you asked. It all depends on what they're selling. So for instance, my father-in-law, when he was not getting results on his Google ads at the beginning, he had spent about $400. He's like, we don't have a lead yet. And I'm like, right. And your commission, your average commission is going to be anywhere, I don't know, from $10,000 to $50,000, depending on the property. And so I was like, you simply have to be willing to pay a little bit more. He's like, I just want a door knock. I'm like, well, that costs you time.
Right.
Like that's what he's more comfortable doing. And I'm like, Pappy, just take a weekend off door knocking and like, let me just like give you people that are already saying, I wish I could find somebody. And we were $400 in and he hadn't had a lead yet. And I was like, Pappy, you have got, his name is Bruce, but he's Pappy. I was like, Pappy, you've got to be willing, like think about the closing, like how, like what would the upper limit of what you're willing to pay be? And so we ended up getting to, I think $1,000 before he got his first one that actually converted. And then it was another $1,500 before the second one. So like he got one lead for $1,000, one lead for $1,500, and one lead for $500. But that ended up being 3 closings, like for $3,000. I think so many people just aren't willing to pay enough to get, so you have to think about what's the lifetime value of this customer.
Yes. I was going to say cost of acquisition, when you break that down, is actually amazing. And especially when you look at, if we were doing Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads or other sort of online lead buying opportunities that we have in this business, we would pay 30, 35, 40% of our commission to those third parties for those leads. So $1,000 for a cost of acquisition for that lead actually is amazing.
It is. And that's why I'm like, this is so possible. And then you don't have to worry about paying someone else a part of your commission like that.
Yes. And you've got full control over it.
You do. It is so worth it. There was something I just thought about leads. One mistake that I feel like people make is they treat all leads as equal. Like there are some leads you're going to get on Facebook that are $5 a piece. I'm like, that is not the same as someone who comes from Google. For example, I'd invested 6 figures just to sit at this table with these other entrepreneurs just to get my business audited. And I was sitting there and it was a pest control company. He had an 8-figure pest control business. And I loved how he said this. He was basically like, yeah, my reps don't actually get to touch the Google leads until they've closed at least 100 Meta leads, because Meta is lower quality. He's like, if you can close the lower quality, I can't even imagine what you do with the higher quality. So people earn their way towards the different types of leads. And I feel like too many business owners, it's like, well, what should my cost per lead be? And it's like, what should your cost per lead be based on the platform is honestly true. Like you should be willing to pay, like Pappy did, higher for the cost per lead on Google than you would on Facebook and Instagram. Not that you can't get leads there, because you can. I'm just saying Google, Like they're looking for an agent right now if you do it the right way. So you should be willing to pay for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Great advice. Great advice. Now, you just mentioned that you were sitting at a table, that you had spent a lot of money to sit at a table with other business owners to invest in yourself and your skills.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about like you as a business owner and your journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, because I think that journey is just, so many of us are on that journey of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that journey and some of the lessons you've learned on that journey, especially as a female entrepreneur.
Yeah, I would love to. So I think I have to take you back to Chipotle. So my husband, do you remember this Chipotle story about the fight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like pivotal. I remember, for everybody who hasn't heard this before, I came home and my husband had brought me Chipotle, but he had put guacamole on the Chipotle bowl. And if you've ever eaten Chipotle, you know it's $3 for the guacamole. And I had said, maybe I didn't want this. You just wasted $3. Like I didn't want to pay for that. And avocado cost 69 cents. Why are we paying $3? And that was my mindset about money. Everything was scarcity. There was no, what if this works out? There was no abundance. It was obsessing over money just about all day, every day. And we fought about money consistently. And so we'd always wanted to live in a house, couldn't because of money. Yeah. It was like always money. It came back to money. And I told myself, like there was this challenge that I had, and it'll kind of fast forward to how we're here. But my husband and I had like a really rocky period in our relationship for about a year. And that was when I was like, okay, I cannot attach my value to another human. I need to attach it to, I want to create my own value is what I told myself. And so I decided, I had my first son and I decided I wanted to start my business because I had heard someone on a podcast say that you can want more for yourself for no other reason than because it makes your heart happy. And I was like, I do want more. I want my body to feel better. I want my relationships to be better. I want my financial situation to be better. And so I decided to start my business. And just for backstory, for context, for everybody that hears this, I started a few businesses. So while I was working at these ad agencies, because I worked for 4 ad agencies for a decade, I did network marketing for some products. Did not go so well. I did a travel cash with Ash page. I don't even know if it still exists. That did not go as well. Then I launched a course on how to get a job in digital marketing because I'd been in an advertising agency for 8 years. That didn't go well. So I just want you to know I was like 3 strikes in. And then I was like, okay, what if I just do the thing that I am the best at?
You know how to do.
That I've done all day, every day. Was what if I just talk about ads? And so that ended up, I started that when I was very pregnant with my second son. And long story short, I advertised my business and I had honestly only done ads for everybody else. Like a lot of people, the way that they learned ads was doing it for themselves and like figuring it out and then being like, here's what I found. I did it for 10 years for everybody else and spent $200 million. And I still didn't know if it would work for me.
And isn't it different when it's for you?
So I was like, will this really work for me? And when I found out that it did, I was like, this is game over. I've got to teach the world this. And so basically started there. I made my first investment because you asked how I got here. I will tell you, I paid for speed and I invested to learn skills and I never sat in indecision. Like I don't sit, should I not? I truly believe that indecision is a prison and you gain traction when you take action. So I am not indecisive. I decide something, I go and I do it. And because I don't have time to like be on the fence, I just need to go. And every investment that I've made has paid off tenfold. I paid to learn a skill, had my first 6-figure day. I paid another 6 figures, had a 7-figure day in my business. And so it really has been being humble enough to say other people know things that I don't. How can I surround myself with them? And Wendy, the last thing I'll say that I think will help other people is someone's already been where you've been. And if you find someone who's not only been there, but that their energy ignites you, you need to pay for that energy. Like seriously, when
That's
someone
great.
I realized I'm like, I paid for the energy they have and the conviction they have on this thing. And that's it transferred. Like I caught that energy for it too. And so I really think that you pay for the skill, you pay for speed, and you pay for energy. And that is why we have nearly an 8-figure business in less than 3 years.
That's amazing. Well, congrats to you. And we were chatting a bit before we hit the record button. And I shared with you that I loved being a part of your course and being a student with you. And one of the things that I really loved was the experience you created.
Oh,
And doing that through a screen is truly a skill. And you are just so amazing at it. And I learned so much, not only about paid ads, but about creating that experience for your sort of guests and your students. So it was just amazing, and I'm so happy that you were able to share with us here on the podcast. And I want you to tell everyone how to get in touch with you. So how can people reach you?
yeah. So the Instagram, you should be able to type in ads and it should pop up, but it's ads with Ashley. And that's really the best way. And then from there, you'll probably get some ads for the challenge that Wendy spoke about.
Yes, absolutely. So, closing question.
Yes.
The podcast is called X Factor Marketing. And X Factor for me is a sort of life mantra, because I believe that we all have an X Factor, that certain something that makes us special, that superpower. So, Ashley, what do you believe your X Factor is?
I think it's seeing the possibility for other people when they don't see it yet.
Ah, that's amazing.
And just, I think, gosh, that's such a good thing, Wendy. I love that you do that. I think it's seeing possibility. And I think the only other thing that I would say is just believing that the good thing will come, and not only for everybody else, but also for you.
That's a great X Factor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wendy.